Hey now, I love pork loin. I love doing things with it and making all kinds of different meat, charcuterie, and things like that. Now, I really, really like my pork loin deli ham. And I've got some picky eaters around the house here, but one of the things that one of them really, really loves is honey mustard. So today I'm going to do a little bit of a spin on my pork loin deli ham and make a honey mustard pork loin deli ham. So come along for the ride. So here's this beautiful pork loin. After I got it out of that Cryovac pack, I rinsed it off, patted it dry. It's looking beautiful. I also just trimmed off a little bit. There was some excessive, if it's possible, excessive fat cap in a couple of spots, so I trimmed just a little bit off, and I was left with basically 4.9 kilograms. And yes, I am working in grams for the measurements on this. It makes everything way easier for calculations and scaling. So now, speaking of measurements and the scaling. So the way that I'm doing this is going to be an equilibrium cure. Everything that I'm putting into that bag here that the meat's going to go in is the exact salinity, the exact amount of cure, everything that I want in the finished product. So the easiest way for me to scale this recipe for you is to give you it in percentages, and it's a percentage of that 4,900 grams. So if you have any size of meat, it's super easy. Just run the calculation. Just get your weight in grams, multiply it by that percentage. It will tell you the exact quantity of the ingredients that you need for the largest or the smallest roast ever. So let's get making this cure. All right, I'm just mixing up my cure here now. And apparently my camera failed me when I was actually showing all of the ingredients going in, which has made me super, super happy. Now, this here was initially liquid honey. It was 5% of that meat weight, which was 244 grams. To that, I added 2% of just plain old yellow mustard. That was 98 grams of that. And then to that, I had to add my cure, which was in this little container here. Yes, this is a cured product. You need to have cure in it. And I'm using NitroCure, or you can use InstaCure #1, Prog Powder #1, any sodium nitrite based cure, but cured product, you need it. Sorry. And that cure was 0.25% of that meat weight, or it was around 12 grams. I added pickling salt to it, which was 2.5%. You could also use kosher salt or something like that. That was 122 grams. I added some nice garlic powder, which is 0.15% or 7 grams. And then some cracked black pepper. I just took some peppercorns, threw them into my spice mill, and that was 0.3% of that. And that is this entire actually delicious smelling cure here. This is very, very similar to what my little one likes to make when she is making honey mustard for her little accoutrement for the meals that we have around here. So we're ready to get this onto the meat. All right, we have got an absolutely giant length of vacuum seal bag, and there we go. We've got it set into there. Now, normally I like to mix up my cures, but if it's just sort of like all dry ingredients, I like to mix it up in like a big meat tub or whatever, like it was just sitting in. However, I think we're gonna go for the old shake and bake method here, so let's see how that works out. I'm pretty nervous about this. I'm just going to go ahead and pour it all in. I'd like to think that the salt and the cure and the garlic powder and black pepper and all that was pretty evenly distributed throughout the liquid. Let's try to get most of it in. All right, and now, action time. We're just gonna roll it around here a bunch, toss it around, smoosh around the cure, and try to get it evenly coated. Rub that meat, yes. There we go, give it a little flip. Oh, we gotta work it all over here too. And they said it couldn't be done. But look at that. Really nicely distributed. Now the real trouble is going to be actually vacuum sealing this. So let's do that. Okay, now I'm not going to totally vacuum seal that because all this stuff would come flying out, which would be horrible. I've got my trusty little food saver here. I do have the moist setting on. I'm putting it on gentle as well. So hopefully I can get I'll get a really good seal on this and get a decent amount of the air out without causing trouble. And I'm just going for a second seal on this. So I've got a double seal on both sides of this bag here. This is just really to prevent any sort of possibility for leakage once this is in the refrigerator curing. And here we are, a good amount of that air is out. Again, not an actual vacuum seal, but that's totally fine. That gives me a little wiggle room. I've got this labeled up here with the product, and the date that I'm doing this so that I can keep an eye on that as this is curing. So I'm gonna get this into the refrigerator now, keep it nice and cold, but then every day or two just go in there, just kind of massage it, work it around a little bit, distribute everything really nicely in there, and the kitchen smells amazing, by the way. So anyway, time for patience. All right, our curing process is done. I completely forgot how gigantic this loin here is. Now, this would have been done in about 2.5 to 3 weeks. I did give it basically 5 weeks here, just based on my own schedule here, the fact that you can't over-cure with time, and that is allowing for hopefully maximum flavor penetration of this honey mustard sauce. So I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to go ahead and rinse off everything that's on the inside here, and then pat it dry with some paper towel, and we'll be ready for the next phase here for smoking. Woo! Check out that actually kind of yellow meat. That fat cap has definitely taken on a yellow tinge here. I've got this here on the smoke setting on my Pit Boss 700 FB. We're going to be rocking this for probably a few hours here on the smoke setting just to get a nice initial smoke flavor to this honey mustard ham. So I've got that above a rack here that has just a splash of cider vinegar in it and some water, and that's just going to help keep a little bit of a humid environment. Now, after 3 hours of smoking with those applewood chips, we're definitely getting some nice smoke color going on with these loins. I'm going to increase the temperature here to 225 degrees Fahrenheit and let it start to actually hot smoke. After 2 hours here, this honey mustard pork loin ham has hit 138 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to pull it off, let it keep climbing to 140. That's all nicely tracked with my meter plus probe here. And yeah, this is looking absolutely stellar. Now, after resting, this pork loin ham, this honey mustard ham would be totally ready to eat right now. However, I have different plans for it, so I'm going to actually let it refrigerate overnight. All right, so after chilling down overnight, I've got this honey mustard ham sitting here on my cutting board. Got a big old knife I'm going to cut into it with. Pretty excited about that. Now, I have different plans for this. I'm planning on treating this as a deli ham sliced on sandwiches, but as well treating it as a ham for meals. So I'm going to cut off sort of some family size roast portions here, such as this, which I'll be able to just vacuum seal, freeze, and then pull out and reheat whenever I want a quick meal. But now let's take a peek at this ham here. Beautiful. All right, let's try a slice. So I'm just running off some slices here using my Avantco 10-inch meat slicer. You can see I've got some beautiful little slices here. Okay, here we are, sliced up, and now that nerve-wracking moment when you try something that's a bit of an experiment. Okay, first off, of note here is how moist this ham turns out with this method. Doing the cure and then just hot smoking it, but only until it hits that 140 Fahrenheit degree range. It retains so much moisture. It's just beautiful. And as far as flavor, okay, I think we got some of that honey mustard in there. I mean, we better have because we soaked it in enough of it, but got a little bit of that honey coming through. For sure, some of the mustard, a little bit of that black pepper, and I'd say just a tiny bit of that garlic is carrying through here as well. It's really nice, it's beautiful, it's subtle, and yet has some good flavor. So this is going to be great on sandwiches, which is what all those slices there are for. But then also, like I was saying, roasting it up, getting it in, nestling it in with some scalloped potatoes or something like that, cooking it in the oven, reheating it that way. You could also reheat using sous vide. You could steam it. Lots of different ways to heat this up. Very, very versatile. But either way, super fun experiment. Might pair nicely with honey mustard sauce. But anyway, give it a whirl. If you do, let me know how it turns out for you. And until next time, keep it at 11.